Good morning. Sorry, a few minutes late this morning. Was trying to get the camera to work. So I have this camera set up and I've been trying to mess around since we went to the new office and changed spaces. We kind of lost our studio. So I've been trying to build out in my office this new setup and still trying to get the hang of it. Let me pull up my Facebook just to make sure that you guys can hear me. I feel like my mic has been low the last couple, I don't know, Monday Mindsets. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but it feels like my mic has been low. So let me see this real quick. I'll refresh to make sure you guys can hear me good. And you can always chat in. If you can hear me and it's good volume, we will rock and roll. I want to talk to you today about something I am doing. I'm doing something I had never done before with Reminder Media. And I think it's a good Monday mindset thing because, you got to push yourself to try different things. One thing that I've never done or tried is I have never tried to do a live event. So been a part of a ton of them. So Reminder Media, we probably sponsor, on a lower year, maybe 35 to 40 conferences. On a big year, probably 65 to 70, depending on, what's happening out there. Looks like Joe, you're there. Flip, you're there. Sorry, just seeing your comments now. So I'm doing my first ever live event where I'm doing this workshop mastermind it's going to be 100 team leaders within the real estate industry. I'm doing it out in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. And what a huge undertaking. I had no idea. A new level of appreciation to all the conference people out there that are throwing conferences like Cody Askins and stuff, like just for the room alone, just for the room that's going to be like 100 and something people, $32,000, I think is what it is at the Princess Resort there at the Marriott. And what's crazy about it too is not only are you spending, $30,000 for the room, you also have to commit to a certain amount of hotel rooms that if they don't get used, you're on the hook for those hotel rooms. So there's that. And then you have this certain spend in like drinks and food that you're doing. So that to me, I was like, oh, wow, geez, man, what's shocking to me is not the money. Okay, it costs money to sponsor or to get a ballroom, stuff like that. But what's shocking to me is you have to make the commitment well before the commitment if the people are coming or not. And so that is like, oh wow, nerve wracking. It's like I was telling Steve, my partner here, and a bunch of other people, it's like I haven't felt this level of like intensity in a while, which is a sign for myself of going, Luke, you're not pushing yourself hard enough. Because this level of intensity actually makes me, getting out there, moving, going, hey, we got to fill this room. Not only do we need to fill this room because, we spent some money, but more importantly is because, hey, we're putting all this time and energy and investment into this. We need to make sure people know about it. And it doesn't matter if you have the best event if nobody knows about it and nobody attends. And so, we've been hustling on that, getting the word out there, getting people to attend. But here's my Monday mindset for you, because that's an event in the real estate space. It's my first ever. But my real Monday mindset is, are you pushing yourself to do things that make you uncomfortable? And the thing, the saying goes, it's like the fruit is out on the limb, right? The fruit is out on the branch. You got to get out there on the limb. You got to kind of have this faith where you step out, not knowing exactly what's going to happen. And I think what happens to businesses is like a slow death, because I can see this in times in my own business where we've maybe fallen back. It's like you get this slow death of mediocrity, where when your standards and your intensity and your effort just starts being a little bit more lax. It's the example that resonates with me is the example of like you go to the gym consistently every single day, and then one day you don't go. And it's so much easier the next day to not go. And now you're 2-3 days in, you haven't gone to the gym. And it becomes so much easier for your mental state to not go and to get laxed and to justify why you're not going. And I find this in my own life. And so the same applies in business, just like your health, just like working out. The same applies in your business of, one day you don't make your phone calls. And then it's so much easier the next day to not make them. And then 2 days in, you haven't made your phone calls, but guess what starts happening? You start to tell yourself what narrative? Well, the reason why I didn't make my phone calls is because I had to handle this problem. The reason why I didn't make my phone calls is because I had to do this operational task for my website or for the contract or whatever it is. We start telling ourselves this narrative, and it's self-preservation. I mean, talk about it from like, this is how human beings are. This is evolution. And literally, we want to protect. And so we create these narratives to protect ourselves. And I want to challenge you today to do the uncomfortable, because this event has shown me, it's like, wow, man, it's where the uncomfortable is. All the sayings are true. The growth happens in the uncomfort. The intensity happens in the uncomfort. Grant Cardone talks about like one of the deaths of people is when they have a lot of money in their bank account. And so he's always lived by this principle that if he gets money, he immediately invests it. So he goes broke. He lives broke in essence. So he can always be moving to that next thing. Because when you're broke, when you don't have any money, you got to get out there and make more money. And people don't teach you that, like, success is a drug that paralyzes you. Like success, you get a little bit of a success and it's just like a football team. And maybe you find yourself here today. It's like you're making 70 grand a year, maybe. You're making 85 grand a year. You're making enough to be comfortable, whatever that is for you. And then guess what? You're like the NFL team that starts playing defense instead of offense. It's like you're winning, you're winning, and we all see it. We all have our team that does this, is they're winning, and all of a sudden they stop really playing with intensity and aggression, and they lose the game because they go into defense mode instead of being on the offensive. And so I want to challenge you today. I don't know who this message is for, but you know who it's for, who is ever watching this and it resonates with, is that have you put yourself in a place where you're just comfortable and you're just making enough and you're just doing enough for your business, and you have a narrative going to self-preserve your state, to protect yourself, even though you know it's BS and you know you're not actually doing the things that you should be doing. And the only way to overcome that in my life that I have found, tell me in chat in if you have found other ways. There's only 2 ways I have found. One is an accountability partner. So I have to have a mentor in my life, an accountability partner in my life, a coach in my life. Maybe I get to another environment like a conference or something like that to change that state of mind. That is one way that I have found. And the other is to do something really big that requires you to put in the effort. Like you basically commit to something that's like, oh shoot, now I have to do this. And it puts me outside of my comfort zone. That's the only 2 ways I've been able to find how I break this mediocrity, this self-protection mode, is I need to put myself in an environment and with somebody that's going to call me out and hold me accountable. Or I need to shoot for something and commit to something that's so big, and the loss is so big, of loss of maybe money, loss of embarrassment and my reputation, that I do the work. That's what it's been like for me. I don't know what it's been like for you. But my Monday mindset to you guys this morning is simple. Is I'm doing something different that I've never done in my business. And we're 15 plus years into growing this business, and I'm doing something I've never done before. And I'm taking a shot and I have reasons for why I'm doing this, and I can maybe share that on another Monday mindset about brand and my avatar and who I'm going after and all this stuff. But I'm doing something and committing to something that is uncomfortable, and that makes me question, am I going to be able to pull this off? Am I not? And that's actually a great feeling, because it's causing me to move. And I like to see that as like a positive of like, wow, Luke, you're moving in ways you haven't moved in a while. And that is a huge lesson for you, that you're not doing big enough things. So my challenge to you is, are you moving with an intensity that's life or death? Here's the framework. If you were going to not make payroll by Friday, how intense would you be this week? If you were not going to be able to pay your bills by Friday, how intense would you be this week? What types of actions would you be taking? And you need to have big enough moves and big enough risk happening in your life that causes you to move with such urgency and intensity, because that's where winning is. That's where the fruit is. You got to get out there on the limb, as they say. So guys, get out there and win this week for you, for your family, for your friends. Let's make it happen. Happy Monday. Get your mind right so you can get your money right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.